Hello everyone. Very happy to see you again today. The topic we will try to tackle after lunch is a bit tricky because it's a dilemma. It's a dilemma between transformation. We need to move fast. The environment is changing very quickly, but we are talking about the financial services. So security is very important. So far, 92% of the banks are putting AI into production and using it in Europe. But at the same time, fraud and attacks on banks raised by 52% compared to last year. So huge attack on the topic. To tackle this dilemma, we have three wonderful executives, but as well women. I was asked as well to mention that. So very happy to have a very feminine panel today. We have, in the order going this way, we have Catherine Maton, which is the Chief Operating Officer of BNP Paribas BCEF, so the retail banking, private banking and corporate banking. And as you know, BNPP is the bank for a changing world. So huge topic to tackle today, huge pressure. We have Catherine Mainob, who is the Deputy CEO of Caisse des Dépôts. Caisse des Dépôts is investing on a long-term perspective for the financial interest. And we have Alda Sawaya, which is the RVP of the Financial Services and Public Sector at Dataiku. Dataiku, as you all know, providing end-to-end services for company to bring value with data and with AI. Let's jump on the topic and have the panel start with you. Alda, we would love to get your view, because you are the generalist actor on the financial services. On where do we stand on this transformation versus security, and particularly with a sovereignty perspective and AI governance perspective?
Yes, thanks, Jeremy. So first, let's start with governance and with a very powerful idea I want to share. As you've mentioned, sometimes governance is really associated to some break in the processes, the input we can have in these processes. And actually, governance is a real accelerator when it's really used with the whole understanding of what governance can bring. When you put the right rules for data and AI at the right level, on the right processes, people and your teams won't be afraid anymore to go build models, deploy the models, and use them very accurately on their business processes. So this is really the first starting point for how to handle, how to understand what governance is, and how governance can really help you accelerate your transformation. And then you can embrace the sovereignty topic. What is sovereignty? Actually, sovereignty is really about the choices and the optionality you can have while making your choices. And this is really very key. You need to keep the mastery of your choices at any time for any topic, basically, from your data infrastructure to your AI infrastructure to the models and the timing and the planning you want to deploy your strategy. So to keep this optionality, you need to have platforms, you need to have solutions. Dataiku is one of them, which provide you with this really open choice you can have at any time. So this is very key, so you can use any underlying infrastructure, and most importantly, you can change your mind during the process. If you want to switch at some point, you can do it seamlessly, and this is very important to keep your sovereignty on your data and AI processes. And governance and sovereignty really need something which is really important, which is trust. You need at any moment to understand and explain why your AI models are bringing you some results. How did they get to these results? And with Dataiku, for instance, you have a really very deep audit trail from your raw data to the endpoint result, which allows you to understand and, most importantly, explain and action the results of your AI. So to sum up, if you want to go fast, if you want to succeed in your AI transformation and strategy, please use the guardrails and the governance.
Thank you very much. Very clear. Now, if we go a bit on the fear dimension, if we talk about attack and fraud, there are a lot of new ways that fraudsters are using to attack banks, and banks are reacting, I think, at a very, very quick pace to change that and to protect themselves. I know that at BNPP you did a very strong data science and AI project. Can you tell us a bit more about it, Catherine?
Yes, maybe I will start with remaining to everyone that fraud management for bank institution did not start with AI threats. Of course, it's part of our DNA to manage fraud. Nevertheless, AI brings on the table a new kind of fraud, making the scenarios available for a lot of people right now, and really easily. You can easily create false documents. You can create videos, you can create voices. So it brings a lot of new opportunities for fraudsters to fraud customers. And we all have to be aware that it can happen to each of us. I saw that when visiting the service client at BNP Paribas. Some people who are like you and I have been trapped by fraudsters very, very easily. So we have to be very careful about that. But I would like to share some important figures to illustrate what I just said. Phishing fraud has increased 12 times since the arrival of ChatGPT, first. Second, more than 40% of companies have been trapped to phishing, have been victims of attempt of fraud. Okay, so it's a lot. And we saw in the news also some very concrete cases of fraud. A deep fake from a CFO in Hong Kong who just asked to a colleague of him to make several transfers, okay, for an amount of $25 million. So it's a lot, and it happened really. So this is the first example. Another one is a governor of the Romanian central bank on social media, a deep fake, encouraging fraudulent investment. This has been done by fraudsters with AI also. Just be aware that spending $15 on the dark web, you can just create false document also. So it becomes available for a large amount of people and very easily. So facing these threats, the bank is currently adapting. And what is interesting is that we use also AI to adapt. So this is the other part of the coin. We use AI because with AI we can manage a very large amount of data. We can build scenarios who are just adjusting more easily to what is happening in our systems. We can detect, by example, strange behavior of one of our customers doing some money transfer. When we see that it's unusual cases, wow, why is he doing so many transfer towards this kind of country? We have some, it's an example, we have some alerts that are raised and we manage them. Each and every time I would like to add that we have a human being who is also coming in the case to contact the customer and to discuss and to see how relevant are what we have just detected before. So we are currently adapting with AI. Also in terms of cybersecurity, we just mentioned phishing before. In our cybersecurity with AI to manage the phishing, the emails that we receive, the entry emails that we receive to our colleagues, we manage thousands of emails that are blocked each and every day just to avoid phishing. So it's examples that what to do with fraud management.
The fraud is dynamic and the reaction to this fraud is very dynamic as well. Well, thank you very much. Very clear. Catherine, if we come to you now for a question on solving this dilemma between transformation and security, how to go fast on that by being as well secure. Could you give us the perspective that you do at the Caisse des Dépôts with as well your hat of helping the country moving forward?
First of all, thank you for inviting me, and I'm very pleased to be part of this event. I'm sure it's going to become a new iconic Davos for AI in the next year and in this amazing place. CDC Group, you mentioned it, it's now the main public financial institution in Europe. We have been funded a long time ago, in 1816, and we have the specificity of being a long-term investor and to operate public mandate, especially in the field of the social sphere. Our motto is La foi publique. I prefer to pronounce it in French rather than in English. So it's mentioned with this motto the importance for us to put trust in front on our operation and our missions. Caisse des Dépôts has very driving roles in France's transformation by supporting ecological, economic and social transitions. Maybe you don't know that, but for example, we funded 80% of deployment of rural fiber solutions in France. Our current ambitions are three main pillars. The first one is to build European digital stack. A European digital stack based on our European champions, such as Mistral AI. Mistral AI we have invested in with BPI France. The second one is to help on SMEs and local authorities to adopt AI. And I think you noticed that Emmanuel Macron stressed that point yesterday night in his official speech. I think it's very important. And the last one is to boost digital trust and inclusion for all citizens. These three roles we are going to conduct during the next 5 years also a role in, I will say, a model role in the adoption of trusted AI. And that's the testimony I wanted to make with the adoption of Data IQ solutions. We use it for managing pensions. We are a very huge operator in France. 1 of 5 citizens are operated for their pension funds, or their pensions by the Caisse des Dépôts. And we use Data IQ platform with a very efficient result in terms of performance, in terms of viability of your user experience. And we are very proud to use and for our internal transformation these solutions from companies we support by financing them.
Thank you very much. So we have the use case perspective on fighting fraud. We have the strategic vision of Caisse des Dépôts. And now if we want to have the platform vision on how to have this end-to-end approach of, okay, I have my data, I want to create a use case, I want to be able to monitor it and to create trust. How do you do it at Dataiku, and what are the key pillars for success on that?
Well, the first basic starting point is really your data. If your data is bad, it can break any of your models, any of your GenAI models, any of your agents. So first, to make sure that what you build, what you deploy, what you use is really efficient and useful, be sure that you fix your data quality, your data pipelining at the first place. So this is the basic and really mandatory starting point for any project, any data or AI project you could build or deploy. Then when you've secured this part, which is really key as a foundation, you can then move to the next level, to the next step, which is not really automation. We talk a lot about automation, but it's not just automation. It's really about orchestrating this whole process, this whole logic of how data can feed your models and then how your models can be put into production with very important human inputs, human validation, and then how to translate this into actions, operations really on the field. So this is a really global view of how to orchestrate, how to manage these global processes, which is kind of a reasoning layer you must think of when you are building and deploying your data and AI models at scale, at your company level. And then really, I've said the validation, the human validation is key. Keeping human in the loop will be very instrumental to succeed in the AI space. And what is it keeping human in the loop? It's really keeping each and every one of you, every human in the loop, meaning from low coder to no coder, from data expert to business expert, everyone working together to build and deploy and use the processes. So keep in mind, you need to gather into your platforms, into your tools, into your processes, your data experts, IT experts, and also very important, your business stakeholders and experts in order to build and monitor your AI projects and to succeed, basically.
So you need to have strong observability when you build the use case and to create value, but as well you need to have this strong observability throughout the life cycle after that. You want the business to be staying in the loop, to train and to monitor.
Yes.
Okay. Sure. Thank you very much. So that's for the overall picture. If we look at BNPP and we open the hood of how you applied such concepts and how you deliver use cases to change, as the name of the bank you are, change quickly, but still you are a bank, you want to maintain the trust level. So how do you do these use cases? Which type of use cases? Can you give us some concrete juice on that, Catherine?
Yes, thank you for the question. Of course, introducing this kind of technology in our processes implies that we review the way we deliver those processes, how it can bring value, but also mitigating the risk that is embedded with it. The new kind of risk that we face for our own purpose, by example, I would like to mention the virtual assistant that we are currently deploying or preparing to deploy for Hello Bank, the digital bank of BNP Paribas. For our 1 million customer, we will deploy what we call a virtual assistant, who will provide accurate answers to their request 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Doing this, it's clear that we need to make sure that the feedback given by the AI is correct, of course, that the answer is the right one. So to do that, we train, of course, our models a lot, and we also use a tool to supervise the way it is done. We use Giscard to do that, to teach the assistant and to supervise what it does. This kind of actions helps to prevent what we saw also in the past in other companies with the AI providing guidance to customer, and that has put them in very, very bad position. This is the first situation we face. So we train it, we try it, we supervise it, and we are a bank institution. So of course we have a governance to manage this kind of risk, and we have put in place a dedicated AI governance at the higher level of BNP Paribas, the executive committee level, involving IT, risk, finance, and HR also. This is a very important topic. Of course, we comply with regulation, with AI Act. And in addition, we monitor all our AI cases with a watchtower tool to do that. And governance tools and our expertise, the team's expertise, makes the situation less risky than it could be.
Thank you very much. And I will bounce on something you just said to ask to Catherine my, I think, final question on the time being. You mentioned the topic of regulation. We mentioned the topic of fraud, of a lot of constraints. Catherine, I think in Caisse des Dépôts, you of course you live with these constraints, you know them very well, but you kind of aikido them in some force and you use them as well to continue creating value for the French environment.
Yes.
Can you give us some hints on that?
Yes. As a regulated financial institution, we have zero tolerance for data loss risk, and that's the reason why in the public sector we're choosing a platform with key constraints. The first one is RGPD on compliance by design to the regulation. The second one is to sovereignty. We clearly prioritize the reversibility and sovereignty cloud solutions, such as NumSpot, which is a solution we are developing within the Groupe Caisse des Dépôts. It's a key point to ensure independence and the continuity of our operations. And interoperability, you told this platform must be scalable and reusable and aligned with procurement public rules. So I think my main point is just to my message is we have a lot of very smart solution and pépite in France, such as DataIQ, such as Mistral AI. It's a real opportunity to scale up in the country within the public sector, but not only with in the public sector with the whole big companies. So use this solution because by using this solution, you are stronger for your organization and you make them stronger. So it's a two-win policy we're supporting at the highest level in France and in Europe.
Thank you very much. So if I sum up everything that has been said, there is a huge constraint on security, but the velocity of the transformation is still happening, and that's thanks to partners and thanks to the ecosystem, French ecosystem that is growing. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be there with you. Thank you very much to you too, and ending the floor to the next panel. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you.